So hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss about Python virtual environment. So this is a fantastic feature available in Python. So especially when you use a shared system. Uh, let me tell you two scenarios. One is a group of developers using a shared system, and they have to deploy various application which is developed maybe in the same version of Python or in the different version of Python, and maybe with a different version of the same dependencies. So what will happen is the package conflicts will arise. So package conflict is one of the main problem. So Python virtual environment will help us to avoid one conflict. So let me explain about package conflict. Let's say I'm using a Python package A of version 1.0. Okay, so and let's say another person, or maybe I'll be using the same package in another project. Okay, package A, and I need 2.0. So when we do pip install package A, okay, how to specify the version while doing pip install? We can do 1.0, right? Equal to 1.0. So this will install package A 1.0 version. Okay, so in the same environment, if I try to do 2.0, what will happen? This will install 2.0, but this will be gone. Okay, the 1.0 version will be deleted and the 2.0 version will be installed. Okay, so this is going to be a problem because even if the package is the same, uh, version differences may impact your application because of functionality, the implementation of internals, everything will be different with different versions. Okay, so we need to maintain. So it's so when you are developing any application in Python, one of the main requirement is you need to maintain the version of all the packages. So how will you maintain? There is something called, we usually keep a file called requirements.txt, and in this requirements.txt we will maintain the packages and its versions. Okay, so that is how we maintain. So but if you are installing everything in the same environment, what will happen? It will be difficult to maintain different applications that uses like different versions of the same package. So to tackle that issue, okay, so the best one of the best feature available in Python is basically virtual environment. Okay, virtual environment virtual environment. Okay, so this will help us to resolve package conflicts because there will not be any package conflict because of this versions. Okay, then second thing is this will help us to isolate the dependencies across projects. So let's say I'm using 10 packages. So at the time of development, we'll do pip install. We may install several tens or hundreds of packages, depending upon the size of the projects and the complexity of the project. And at the end, let's say if you want to replicate the application to another environment, that time is the problem, because what are the dependencies to be taken or installed in the other machine? So if you are using like a common environment for all the projects, you will not be able to, or it will be very difficult for you to identify the list of packages required for the specific project or the specific application. So let's say if you are using a fresh environment and specific to your project. Okay, so that means, for example, if you are using one environment and you have all the projects in this environment. Okay, so what will happen? These are all projects. Okay, and whatever packages you install, okay, all the Python packages, let's say it get installed here. So it will get installed here. Okay, so what will happen? Project A, project B, everything will be here. Finally, when you list, you will have all these packages. This is like Python packages, package. Okay, and this will be projects. and this will be environment. I'm talking about a single environment. So one is the chances of getting all the applications up and running. If there are like package conflicts, it will be difficult. Second thing is, if you want to migrate to like a separate machine from dev to QA or QA to prod, so how will you list down the required packages? If you list everything from here, it is going to be a mess because you will have so many unwanted packages. You need to create like a neat requirements file which contains only the required packages for your project with the version. Okay, so that is how where the virtual environment comes into picture, and it helps us to basically create project specific environment. Okay, it can be it can be for project or it can be user. It's up to the user. Okay, so we will be creating, let's say this is the same machine, okay, single machine, and we can create, okay, and it uses the same Python, underlying Python. Okay, but there will be multiple environments where the packages get installed. Okay, so here your specific, your project specific or your requirement specific packages will get installed in this particular virtual environment. Okay, that is the magic of this virtual environment. Okay, so you will have packages here. This is project B, virtual environment B, and you will have some packages related to this, and this is project C. So representation, I'm just trying to represent, this is 0 1, 0 2, okay, so these are three virtual environments. So you can refer to this one for running project 1, refer to this one for running, refer to this second environment for running project 2, refer to the third environment for project 3. Like this we can create n number of environments. Okay, and another advantage is you can even copy this virtual environment to a remote machine. Okay, so you don't, let's say like you have a different machine where you want to configure the same application. You don't have to install the packages again. Okay, or you don't have internet access in the second machine. What you can do is you can basically lift from here. Okay, lift this entire environment from here. Okay, and copy it to the second machine. Okay, so in this way what will happen, this will be available in a different machine and you just need to run the code. You don't have to install it again. Okay, so this is the third advantage of this virtual environment. Okay, so now I'll show you how to handle or how to use this virtual environment in a machine. I'm going to use a Linux machine. First is we need to install the virtual environment package, virtual env. Okay, so pip install virtual env, so minus pip 3. Okay, so this is installing. Okay, now let's see, so this is a root user. I did the installation from the root Python, so I will have to install this virtual env from the root Python. Then I'll go to, and one more advantage before going to the practicals. So one more advantage of having this virtual environment is if you create virtual environment specific to user, okay, so they will not mess up the system Python. Okay, so let's say this is a Linux machine. Okay, so if I do some mess up with the system Python, if I install some unwanted packages and all, what will happen is this operating system has some linkages with some of these packages. Okay, so it will break. So for example yum, so if you basically upgrade Python or if you do something with Python, so it will mess up the system itself. Okay, so and this virtual environment, the packages gets downloaded. So if you see here, this is the site packages location where the let me list the directory. Okay, so in this directory you will see these are the packages additional, we have installed virtual env, right? So virtual env got installed here. Okay, as we install packages from the root Python, it will get installed in this particular directory. Okay, so but if more people are like, if I keep installing more, what will happen, this will have so many and it will be very difficult to manage or distinguish. And also if I do basically something mess with the Python packages like with yum or something, what will happen is it will damage the system OS also. Okay, to avoid all these kind of problems, the best way is create virtual environments in user specific environments. So let me go to a non-root user. Okay, so I have a user coder. Okay, so here nv. Okay, so hyphen python. So I'm going to create a virtual environment from python, and I am giving the name py36. Okay, and yeah, and I'm giving the name py36. Okay, and let's see how it creates python 3.6. Okay, so this syntax is virtually env hyphen python, then the python version. Okay, then the name of the directory where this gets created, the virtual environment. So what will happen is right now we are in the home directory of coder user, so it will create a directory py36. Okay, so maybe py36, I'll keep env01. Okay, so I'm creating py36 env01. So this will be my first environment. So let's create it. Okay, so now it created an environment. Okay, so now how to activate, let's see how to activate this environment. Okay, so let's do ls. Now we can see a directory called with the name py36 env01 got created. Let's go inside the directory. Now we can see here it has bin lib64 and a config file. Okay, you see we have site packages folder. Okay, it came with the setup tools, pip, everything. So now, so this is basically I got like a copy or basically a virtual environment created. But now if I do which python, it is still pointing to, oh sorry, it's a python 3. So which python 3, it is still pointing to user bin python 3. So that means it is not at pointing to the virtual environment. So how to activate this virtual environment? So let us see that. Okay, so now we are in this inside the directory, the virtual environment directory. Let's go inside the bin. Okay, inside the bin we can see there is something called activate. Okay, so the command is source activate. Now you see on the left hand side, you can see the environment got activated. Okay, now if you do which python 3, now you can see it is pointing to the python 3 is pointing to the python within this virtual environment. Okay, so let me install a package pip 3 install PySerial. Okay, so this is a python package which is used for doing some serial communication. So I'll install this python package. You can try installing any python package. Okay, so I'm installing next one, Tornado. So this is on one of the old REST API frameworks. Okay, so Tornado. Okay, now I have these two packages in this environment. Okay, so and Tornado, which version got installed? 6.1 got installed. Okay, so let me try installing 6.0 just to tell you like what is the problem with the same environment if installing. Tornado equal to I'll do 6.0. Okay, what will happen? You can see it is doing uninstalling Tornado 6.1, installing 6.0. That means the higher version got uninstalled and the lower version got installed. This is the problem that we discussed some time back. Okay, so to avoid this problem, we have to use the virtual environment. Okay, so now we know this environment, the env01 has Tornado 6.0, and let's say I have a project here and that uses this particular packages. So how to basically export the packages that are present. So then present in this particular environment. So the command is pip freeze, and let's save it to a file requirements.txt. Okay, so now cat requirements.txt, you will see the two packages that I have installed, that is PySerial and Tornado. You can see the version of Tornado, that is 6.0. Okay, so now how to come out from this virtual environment? So that is simple. It is type deactivate. Okay, if you type deactivate, you will come out of this environment. Now again, if you type which Python 3, it is pointing to again the root Python. Okay, now let's create another environment. Okay, so we'll use the virtual environment command again, so with a different directory. Okay, now I'm creating an environment 2. So what will happen? We'll create another directory with the setup tools, site packages, everything, and it's very quick. Created the environment 2. I'm just renaming this requirements.txt just because I'll be again creating another requirements.txt env01. Okay, sorry, en requirements.txt. Yeah. Okay, now so let's get into the env02. So right now I have created basically 2 Python environments with the same version. You can even create Python environments with different versions also. Okay, and here I'm using the system default Python. You can do it with Miniconda, Anaconda, it's up to you. So I'm just showing the basic example to make you understand the fundamentals. Okay, so let's get into the Python second virtual environment. So here let's go to bin and then source activate. Okay, now what will happen? So now here if I do which Python 3, it is pointing to the env02, which pip3, which pip3. Okay, this will point to, this is pointing to the environment 02. So here I am installing pip install Tornado. Let's install the latest version of Tornado. Okay, so it will install the 6.1 version. Okay, pip install pip3 install PySerial. I am going to install a lower version of PySerial. PySerial equal to 3.3. Okay, in the other environment we have a higher version, that is 3.5. In this environment I have installed a PySerial package which is of version 3.3. Okay, now so as discussed earlier, how to basically export the details of the packages present in an environment? It is simple. Pip freeze then requirements dot txt. So it is requirements env02. Okay, now let's see what is there in the requirements env02.txt. Now you will see PySerial 3.3, Tornado 6.1. Okay, so now the second part is also clear. Now with this we are able to install the same package, different versions of the same package in the same machine. Okay, now if you use environment 1, it will use the 6.0 version and 3.5 version. Okay, and if you use environment 2, it will use 6.1 version and 3.3 version. Okay, now how to basically so if you want to one more thing, let's say I deactivate this. So when I log in directly, so it is again logging into the default Python. Okay, so I'm not getting into the any of this environment. So how to activate a specific environment at the time of login itself? So that is simple. So this is a Linux machine. If you see, I'm in the home directory of this coder user. Okay, if you just do ls-all, you can see a file called bashrc. Okay, this bashrc gets loaded at the time of login. Okay, so let's do some trick in the bashrc. Before doing that, let us get the path. Okay, to one environment. Let's say I want to load environment 01 at the time of login. Okay, so I'm just taking the path of environment 1. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the activate at the time of login itself. So I'm going to add an entry to the bashrc file. Okay, now here what I'll do is I'll basically do at the end of this, I'll do source then bin/activate. So what will happen when this user login for the first time, it will activate this particular environment. Okay, now if you do source bashrc, I'm just loading this bashrc file. Okay, see, environment 1 got activated. Okay, now otherwise, I mean in simple terms, let's I'll exit from this user. Okay, so I exited to the user. Now I am going to the coder user again. Okay, logging into the user again. Now you see it got logged in as virtual environment 1. Okay, similarly, if you want to log into virtual environment 2 by default, if you want to log in as virtual environment 2 by default, sorry, HRC. So here you just need to specify virtual environment 2. Okay, so this will do. Okay, so this will load virtual environment 2. You can see here it is loading the virtual environment 2. And let's say without loading any of this environment, if you want to run a program, okay, let's say I am creating a Python program, simple thing, simple dot py. Okay, here I am just doing print world. Okay, so this is a simple program with hello world. Okay, so if I type Python 3, so let's try this. Okay, so import serial, import tornado. Okay, so the both, see, now let's do deactivate. Okay, now if I try to run the simple.py, it will throw exception. Sorry, Python 3, because it is pointing to the root Python. Now you see no virtual environments are activated. It will show no module found tornado, and if I because tornado and serial both are not in the root environment. Now if I do source, okay, py01 bin activate. Now if I do Python 3 simple.py, it will run, it will print hello world, because the imports are satisfied, the packages are there in that environment. But before running the program, I activated this environment. So how can I run the program without even activating the environment? Simple trick. Okay, how to do that? So let's know the path to the environment. Okay, so it is what, or maybe I'll do it from the absolute path. Okay, instead of relative path, coder py36 env01 bin, and there the Python 3 is there, Python 3. Okay, now simple.py, what will happen? It is basically taking the Python from environment 1 and simple.py. Okay, if I just simply do Python 3, now if you see there is no environment activated here, Python 3 simple.py, it will use the system root Python. I hope this is clear for you. And now the third part that I'm going to explain is, now we have created the virtual environment. We tried installing different versions of packages, same package in two different environment. We configured auto load of or auto activate of a specific environment on login, and we tried referring or calling an environment without even activating that specific one. Okay, now what we are doing is, let's say like I want to copy this environment to a different machine. Right now I don't have a separate machine. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll basically copy this to cp-r to the same machine itself. Okay, so maybe I'll do a better example. So what I'll do is I'll create a new user. Okay, coder 0102. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll copy -r /home /coder /py36 environment 1 to /home /coder 01. This is the home directory of second user. Okay, and I'm copying into the second user's directory. I'm not going to install anything. Let's see whether the other user will be able to use this or not. Okay, so now I'll do chon -r coder 02 coder 02, because I copied from the root user, so this permissions I need to manage. Okay, so I need to change it to coder 02. Now let's log in as Okay, now here we are. Okay, let's try activating this environment. Okay, pi3 environment 01. So here I have not created any environment. What I have done is I just copied from the other user to this user. Okay, now bin cd bin source activate. Okay, now the environment got activated. Now let's see freeze. Let's check the packages here. Okay, to txt. Okay, sorry, it's not pip, it's pip3. Okay, now cat requirements.txt. Oh, sorry, because which pip, oh sorry, which pip3. Oh, it is still pointing to the pip3 is still pointing to the root environment, so I'll have to do something. Let me check. Pip3. Okay, so .txt. It's not picking up the pip from this particular user. So after copying the virtual environment, so if you try without making any config change, it won't work. Okay, right now we are in coder 02, so we just need to make some small configuration changes. Okay, so I'll show you that. So I am in the home directory of coder 02, and let me deactivate this environment. Okay, let me remove this requirements.txt as well. Okay, now let's go into the, this is the second mesh user where I have copied this environment from the first user. Okay, the username is coder02, the older name was coder. So let's go here. So we'll have to make a small change in two scripts. Okay, one is activate. Okay, there is in the bin there is an activate file. So since we copied from the first environment, so you will see virtual environment. So I just modified it here, but this will be pointing to the older environment. So you will have to modify this environment variable, this variable virtual env equal to home. So this location you will have to modify to the location in the new user. So in my case, earlier it was coder and now it is coder02. Okay, this you will have to modify. And second thing is you have another script pip3. Okay, so this pip3 also, okay, you will, if you are using pip3, then pip3. So here you see there is a shebang at the top. So this is pointing to, this will point to the previous version. Okay, the previous virtual environment, the path. Here you will have to modify. Okay, and let's say this pip also you will have. So here all the shebang you will have to modify. So here I am modifying it to coder02, because this is required in case like you are going to copy from a development environment to an environment where you don't have internet. Okay, so it's an offline environment. This copy is required only in case of an offline environment, but once you modify these three things, then you are good. Okay, so now we are good to go. I think maybe one more script, Python 3.6. Okay, so you don't have to modify everything if you're not going to use everything. Okay, so I just modified. Now let's activate this one, source activate. Okay, now this got activated. Now pip3 freeze to requirements.txt means .txt. Okay, now cat requirements.txt. Now you will see the serial PySerial 3.5 turned out to 6.0. This is there in the other users first environment. We did not install any package, but it came by default. By default means we copied the environment as is from one user to the other user. So I hope this explanation is clear. So I think, I mean, we have covered all the four parts. So one is the what is virtual environment, installation of the virtual environment package. Okay, So the purpose of virtual environment, so how it helps to manage multiple projects managed by the same user, or multiple users working on the same environment. Okay, so then creation of multiple virtual environment. Okay, so installation of the same package, different versions in the same machine. Okay, then copying environments across, right, we tried across users, but the same is possible across machines also. If the operating system, everything is the same, we can copy this virtual environment from one machine to the other machine. Just zip the environment, copy it to the other environment. So I hope this explanation is clear. So if you have any questions or queries, please comment below this video. Thank you everyone.